Bonjour, dans le chapitre 4, on va parler de la maison. Voilà, on a les salles dans une maison. Tout d'abord, on a au rez-de-chaussée la cuisine, la salle à manger et le séjour. Sur le premier étage, on a la salle de bain, le couloir et bien la chambre. So in chapter 4, we're studying the house and vocabulary words having to do with the house. So you will see in the first lesson a picture of the house here with several things labeled. Of course, you'll want to go through and listen and practice the pronunciation of each one of these words. Again, make sure that you're studying those articles, the le and the la in front of the words. Then that way you will know if they're masculine or feminine. One thing I did want to point out is if you will notice on the bottom here, okay, on the other side over here, they tell us this is le rez-de-chaussée. And in English, we would say the ground floor. What can sometimes be confusing is that then we see here on the next floor above, it says le premier étage. And première, means first. So literally we would translate it as the first floor. But they have the ground floor and the first floor. So to us, the first floor is almost like the second floor. Okay, so but if you think of it as le rez-de-chaussée is the ground floor, le premier étage is the first one after the ground floor, and then if it was an apartment building or something, you would continue on with your numbers going up. But I do want to note that because that is something that is slightly different and can be somewhat confusing. So if we're looking at this maison, let's do a couple of phrases using our prepositions, right? We get an entire list of prepositions further down if we look in our book, and they will pronounce those for us, and you need to go through and listen to all of those. I do want you to note that some are single words like dans and entre, but some are a complete phrase like à côté de, and you need that de, and en face de, right? You need that whole phrase to say across from or next to. Then we have some that are opposites, right? Devant and derrière, in front of and behind. Notice that devant in French is one word, but in English it means in front of. It's three words. So you'll want to note that. Then we have sur and sous. Then of course the opposites, à gauche de, à droite de. And of course those are phrases, complete phrases that you'll want to study. Then près de, loin de, and then we have par, and then par terre. So these are all prepositions of place, and you'll want to study those. So in using these prépositions, on regarde la maison et on va dire vrai ou faux. Oui? Ok, donc la première, la cuisine, qui est là, la cuisine, est à côté du séjour. La cuisine est à côté du séjour. Vrai ou faux? Vrai ou faux? Ça c'est faux, right? So I said the kitchen is next to the living room. And that is not correct because we have the salle à manger that's in between them. Let's try another one. La cuisine est sous la salle de bain. La cuisine est sous la salle de bain. C'est vrai. Right? So the kitchen is below the bathroom. Is that true or is that false? That's true. C'est vrai. Ok, un autre. Le séjour, voilà, le séjour est à côté de la salle à manger. Donc le séjour est à côté de la salle à manger. So the living room is next to the dining room. C'est vrai, right? That's true. And I want to point out, in our first example, I said la cuisine est à côté du séjour, right? So we talked about those phrases, à côté de, and after the de, I have le séjour. So we're not going to have de le séjour. We're going to change that to du, right? The du séjour. Then I just said le séjour est à côté de la salle à manger. So here I have an expression à côté de, but this time I have la salle à manger, and that's feminine. It begins with la. So I can say de la, but I can't say de le with le séjour. I need to change that to du. So it's important to note that when you are using these prepositions. All right, un autre. Regarde ici, il y a le chien. Et le chien est devant l'arbre. Le chien est devant l'arbre. Vrai ou faux? Ça c'est faux. Le chien est derrière l'arbre. Le chien est derrière l'arbre. Right? So the dog is in front of the tree? No, that's false. The dog is behind the tree. Ok, la cuisine est au premier étage. La cuisine est au premier étage. Vrai ou faux? C'est vrai ou faux? C'est faux, right? The kitchen is not on le premier étage, right? It's au rez-de-chaussée, right? It's on the ground floor. So I hope some of these examples help you to hear how we're using those prepositions in response to each one of the rooms and some of the changes that you might need to consider as you're studying them. Now below this other list of prepositions, you're going to see this special preposition, the preposition chez. And they tell you here that chez usually refers to someone's residence, right? Their house. It's the same as à la maison de. But à la maison de is much longer than I can just say chez. Now we can also use it when we're talking about a place of business. So let's look at a couple of their examples. First they say, on travaille chez toi ou chez moi, right? Are we working at your house or your place or my place? So instead of using à la maison de, I can just say chez toi ou chez moi. J'habite chez Eric. So I live at Eric's place, right? I live at the same house as Eric. Or if we want to use it in a business, we can say, tu as rendez-vous chez le dentiste, right? So do you have a dentist appointment? So this is a very important preposition that you will want to study and just be mindful of because it's very convenient and it is used quite frequently. I hope this helps clear up some information about the prepositions and some of the new vocabulary words that you will be working with and studying. Let me know if you have any questions. Merci, au revoir.